And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Today with me, I have Fadenadden, Juz, the Real Raven, Smirkus, and Carlos. And we're going to talk about Tim Hortons' response to having to up the wages of their workers. And people are not going to be happy about it. But that's the thing when you force a company to do something that they don't really want to do. Who wants to go first, or shall we do the video first?
Let's do the video first. That way everybody can kind of know what's going on.
Okay, Carlos, take it away.
I'm sharing it.
Oh. You're sharing it now.
Take it now! Take it now! Take it now! Take it now! I say Tim Hortons, shame on you! Tim Hortons, shame on you!
I do go regularly.
Stop! Wait! Is that Chrissy Winters over there?
Where?
You'd almost
Oh,
say
the one with the glasses.
Next to the blonde. Yeah.
No.
No. That is,
No.
Well,
that's her sister. That's her twin.
on the risk of sounding racist, this is a prime example.
This.
I just noticed this. On the risk of sounding racist, this is why your protest leader should not be an Asian-speaking English.
No. That's not the problem. The problem is a minimum wage, and you hike up the minimum wage. The companies have to maintain the price of their products, and how do they do that?
Oh, by cutting their profit.
It will all come out. It will all come out, shall we? Shall we look at what happened first?
Yeah, let's continue the video.
That's one possibility. What's the other possibility?
No, let's continue the video.
No, you're jumping ahead.
You're jumping ahead. We are going to address all of that.
I haven't seen this video, so
It's
I
true to
know
Tim
that-
Hortons because I can get a coffee for just about $2, and on a student budget, that's heavenly. I haven't decided to boycott it because, as I said, these wages go towards the workers and go towards putting people like me through university.
We don't endorse the boycott. We know the boycott will hurt workers too, but we can put pressure on RBI, on the parent company of Tim Hortons.
All right, so they have a plan anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a very good one.
Not a very good one.
No?
It's a cunning plan.
It's a cunning plan.
Oh well, I mean, there seems to be an assumption. I mean, if there's a parent company, then the idea is obviously then if they are going to pressurize a parent company, then they assume that there is some parent money, as parents pay for their children, and obviously they will pay the Tim Horton kid a little more, and they might take it away from one of the other kids.
I just want to say something that's kind of funny here. Oh, fuck, I lost the tab. What I've noticed is that guy, the black guy wearing the red jacket there, if you read there, it says Unifor. For those that don't know, Unifor is Canada's largest independent workers union.
Ah.
Okay, that explains.
Is there a official government workers union then?
No,
So they're all independent?
I don't know.
Right.
I wonder
down with the union.
who is he texting though?
Yeah.
This is some bullshit, nigga. I wish I wasn't here.
Continue.
We want them, to take action.
Shame Timmy's for not shaking? No, for not sharing.
Shame Timmy's for not sharing. And then they're saying shame Timmy's for being mean.
Okay.
Okay.
And sharing. Okay, so there's something to share.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Is there something to share?
Well, let's continue. They assume anyway.
I've seen a lot of negative media on Twitter and Facebook, but it makes a difference when people physically come out here and stand with the workers. There's people behind the counters right there and in the kitchens that I'm sure they can hear everyone honking out here, everyone chanting. They see all the news outlets coming out, and I think it's extremely reassuring for the workers to know that we're not going to stand by and watch this happen to them.
Hold the sugar, hold the cream. Tim Hortons, don't be mean.
It's like primary school.
Oh God, their slogans are so fucking cringeworthy. Can I just bring up something?
Hold the sugar, hold the cream, hold my
yeah,
coffee while I go for a pee.
What's that, Carlos?
They say that guy that before this beautiful
The union
screaming,
worker.
shilling things that okay, they raised the minimum wage. Tim Hortons or the parent company says, "Oh shit, we're not going to make money. We could actually have to close down." So what would be a good thing? Okay, let's introduce automation.
Well, actually, here's another thing, Carlos, because they're not addressing it so far in this video, is although Tim Hortons is owned by a large corporation, every store is just a franchise, independently owned franchise.
Exactly. So I can imagine this store that they're protesting outside in about 2 months or no, not even that. Next month they'll lay off half their working staff because shit, they have to pay their suppliers, their bills, electricity, energy bills, etc. Wi-Fi, they could cut off first Wi-Fi, and then they'll complain, "Oh, no fucking Wi-Fi."
But
Well, we can't afford Wi-Fi, so I'm sorry. No,
I'm
we're not sorry,
curious
but
though. From what are they going to 15? What is the current wage?
This is a good question.
They
have a minimum wage.
$2.40, if I'm not mistaken.
13,
How much?
$2.40 was the increase.
$2. $2
13
Per
per
hour.
hour.
Yeah.
That's a huge raise.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's not very much. $2.
If I were to get $2 an hour more, that's going to make a lot of difference.
So you're saying that they're getting like $2? They're getting like $16 a day for this job?
No, they were getting $13.60.
Oh, 13. I thought it was 3.
Oh, these are $2. Sorry, I didn't get it. Further not. Did you say $2 or did you say $13?
No,
Two.
two.
No, it's a
Per hour.
It's a raise of $2.
Ah, okay. Now I get it. Okay,
they went from
so they're getting 13.
15.
13 and a bit to 15. So
Yeah,
But I mean, if you force a company to pay you more money,
Sorry.
it's about
sorry.
20%.
I just looked it up. They went from $11.40 minimum wage
All right.
to 14
okay.
and they're asking for 15.
For
next
15.
year.
They just want an extra one.
So yeah, no,
the
because they're going
15
to
is
15
up
next
next
year.
year. The next January, they're going to raise it to 15. They're just greedy and they want it now.
So they are basically in a little more than a year time going from 11 to 15. That's
They go for 15 because it's a nice round number, you see. And then
Yeah,
the next
probably.
demand next year is going to be 20,
a third.
and then 25, and then 50.
That's almost
The companies, it won't go there because the companies will close down before that.
Yeah.
They would have to cut out so many hours just to be able to pay these people the new raise. Because new
But
raise
let's-
means more money for them, but you don't have increase in sales. You don't have increase in movement. You don't have increase in stock because you don't have the money to replace the stock. Now you're cutting hours. So people are getting more money but working less hours. In the end, you end up being the same.
No, actually,
You'll
what-
have a short-term increase of sales when you increase the minimum wage. I was going to wait till after we're done the video to get on to how minimum wage actually, when you have a minimum wage increase, it actually hurts the economy more than helps and does the exact opposite of what it's supposed to do.
yeah, I wanted to address that too, because what happens is basically by raising the minimum wage, especially this much, because that's almost 40%.
Yeah.
This kind of basically means that there's going to come a huge inflation gulf, which Canada is, by the way, going through already.
But only for coffee.
No, because
Tim.
well, Tim Horton is going to have to pay these people their prices. But if we look at the carbon tax that have been added, especially in certain like Alberta. Was it Alberta?
Let's not get me on
Alberta,
carbon.
Alberta, Ontario, yeah.
I
Saskatchewan.
mean, So yeah, no, you're going to say they need to be paid more per hour, but you tax them more too. So fair enough, they're really not going to go forward at all, and these companies are going to close their doors. I mean, if we look at, I'm going to share myself now. I'm sorry.
Just a question before you go on, Modwain. Why does the sign say they're punished for finally receiving a barely their living wage? That would be interesting because there is some. See, there's some pushback. So we really need to look at before we guess what's going to happen. We should look at what happened.
I think that's just hyperbole.
No,
it's not. It's not.
It's real. I think we should just push on a little bit more through the video and look at the facts first, and then
the video
go
won't say
into
anything,
what's
but
going to happen. Yeah. So
Go
if you
on.
don't mind, maybe watch another minute and see what happened.
Okay. I haven't watched this one.
Hold the green. Tim Hortons, don't be mean.
That was it.
Okay, let's go
Yeah,
back.
that's it. So
You're not getting into trouble by us sharing Canadian press, are you?
no, I'm not.
it's
and if
it's
I am,
fair
I
use.
don't-
We're doing the banana rule.
yeah, I'm not really going to care. But this is the rest of the article.
Oh, was that it? It was only a minute and 27. Was that it?
Yeah, the
Fuck me.
video is already done, but
Okay.
yeah, you wanted
So
to
it's-
see the end, so okay.
Okay, that's good. That's good. No, I thought they would actually talk about what happened. So you actually have to read to find out.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Good.
Like
I'm going to stop sharing then.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, basically, labor activists converged Wednesday on Tim Hortons restaurant to protest pay and benefit clawbacks pegged to recent hike in Ontario minimum wage. A protest at Markham Road and Lawrence Avenue. Avenue E. What's Avenue E?
Avenue
That's a good
East.
question.
I lost where you're reading from.
Oh, okay, never mind. Locations came after workers there were told they could no longer accept tips or have paid breaks because they are now being paid more. They are no longer allowed to have paid breaks because, yeah, the money has to come from somewhere.
Exactly.
Well,
It
see,
was
that's
one
the
of the-
thing. certain salaries, certain jobs like waiters, baristas, like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and whatever. They don't get paid much because most of their money are tips. Now, if you decide to pay them more, like regular salary, the first thing they lose is all their tips.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
is
do
there
it
is there a law that says up until the X amount you're allowed, or you have to pay tips or get tips or charge tips, and then from X amount you're not allowed to accept tips? Surely
No.
you should still be allowed to accept tips.
No, there is
Or is
no
there
law.
a tax problem?
There is no law.
It's not exactly a law. It's a thing from the restaurants itself. They can tell you that because you're getting paid this much, all your tips now are taxes,
Well, in
and
Canada,
so on.
in Canada, all tips are supposed to be taxed,
Mm-hmm.
but no one actually does taxes on tips. Like when you're doing your
Well,
personal
same
income
here.
tax, you're not keeping a tally of how much you've earned in tips like you're supposed to.
Well, yeah, because you probably make a lot more in taxes than most people make in salary. So there's no
Yeah.
reason why you're accountable for that and say, yeah, I made $20,000 last year in tax and tips.
I know.
I only make $2,000.
Well, what about America? I mean, I know that there's an expectation that a large income of a waiter would come from taxes. Do they have to declare from tips? Would they have to declare their tips and tax them? The
Yes.
employees, or is it? Yeah.
Yep.
But
United States, they have to do that too.
it seems just like an unwritten rule to tip anyway.
Well,
And,
because they're low-paid jobs, right? Because
Yes.
you don't want the food to get too expensive, so that's a way to finance that.
I mean,
Well,
waitresses
as a
right
service.
now in the United States make about $4.55 an hour, and the minimum wage is 11. So all their money comes from tips. They're supposed to tax those tips, so most of the people only put like 25%. They made 100. They're like, yeah, I made $20 today. That's their way around of not paying taxes because they only make $4 an hour.
Well, I can tell you when, like, growing up, my mom was actually a waitress. And my mom after tips, because she did keep track. She didn't report it to the government to say, "Oh, well, here I'm going to pay this extra tax," but she kept track of how much she made, and she was making about triple what minimum wage was. Like she'd
Yes,
get
sounds
her
about
wage.
right.
It was around $5 an hour, and at that time, she was actually taking home over $15 an hour as a minimum.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, waitresses typically do make good money.
They make good money because all their job is about presence and being nice to the customers. If you're nice and you got a good presence, you serve them well, yeah, you're gonna get tipped well. I know because I tipped them well.
Tipping's also
Especially at
optional
Hooters.
here, Carlos.
No, I know. Well, yes, I know. Yeah.
Tipping is
Even
pretty
in
much
the UK,
optional
it's
everywhere,
also
isn't it?
optional. No, in America, it's not optional.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's still optional.
It's you're
But if-
supposed to do it, but you're not
Did-
obligated to do it.
But if you don't tip, you might not want to go there again.
Yes, obviously.
I'd say the rule
when
is I'd say Carlos. I'd say the rule is you just don't tip cunts. Everybody else you do.
Oh, exactly. When I was in London with the wife, I did sort of round out the. I was included about £1 to £2 tip in my thing because I can't complain. I was always served quite well, and I felt that yes, that person, that waitress deserves. And also the cook and etc. deserve the tip. I made a budget, £1 to £2, because shit, I'm not a completely moron. I know how the world works. So yeah, I sort of budgeted as well as the tips. I was expecting more, but when I was paid by credit card, and there was an option to give tip to the thing, and even the minimum, which was £2, was I did that. I gave the minimum, but I still gave. I could have said no because there was an option for no, and I said yes, I'll give them. They were good.
Yeah, because some companies kind of calculate the tip. They say like 10 or 15% of the total price. Anyway, let's continue with this one, with the article, because it's kind of funny, or at least to me it is, but we'll get there, I guess. Organizers emphasize they weren't calling for a boycott of the popular chain, but they say they want the parent company to tell its franchise to reverse punitive response to the minimum wage increase. So because the minimum wage increased, Tim Horton started to cut in secondary work. How do you call those things? Benefits.
Expenses and benefits, yes.
Benefits. Secondary work benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, paid breaks is a benefit.
It is, yes.
Yep.
And they have a problem with that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. You can have a problem with that. But at the same time, no one asked them what they thought about raising the minimum wage.
No, they did ask. They did ask. The government asked, like when they did the preliminary thing of, okay, we're looking at raising, and there was an overwhelming response of leave it as is.
So basically, they did ask, and then they did it anyway.
Yeah.
So they forced it upon the companies.
Yes.
Yeah.
As commies do.
Indeed, as communism does. This is not capitalism. This is not plutocracy. This is communism. This is forced. So the company are forced to pay more.
Country, and yet minimum wage was forced into all the companies, whether they like it or not.
And then suddenly you have machines instead of workers.
Didn't they just hire also? I think it was
Like at
in
McDonald's these days.
Yes.
175 business police. It may have been Ottawa that did that. One of your big states. I just read it today. I can't remember it. Because I'm tired and I drank a bit more than I should have.
Like usual.
No, not usual. This is the first time I've actually overdrank a little bit. Not overdrank, I just drank a little bit more than normal. Since last year. So yeah, no, it's not normal. Don't accuse me of being a bloody drunk. I'm not a drunk.
That's the drunk.
It's an occasional alcoholic.
I'm not a drunk, you know.
You're not Scottish either.
Oh shit! I thought it was a French accent. You know.
All right,
Yeah.
let's get back to the
Yeah, okay.
article.
Yeah, back to the.
Where is the justice? Where are the Canadian values? And I'm like, how is it a Canadian value to force people to pay someone more? Since when is that a Canadian value?
Since Trudeau
Never did I know of.
came onto office and to power, yeah.
I mean, I think even his dad didn't do stuff like this, did he?
Oh yeah,
He did?
oh yeah. His dad just kept it in Alberta.
Okay.
Oh.
His dad was just as harmful to the country as he is. Well, actually, no, it's a close competition.
Now, I'm going to say at this point in time, Trudeau has already surpassed his dad. 10 million to a terrorist.
Well, Castro didn't do that sort of shit in Cuba. So why do you expect his son to do some things in Canada?
Okay, no, not his biological dad. His father, his family father.
Thank you,
Dear
Modwain.
Trudeau.
So yeah, no, I mean, I didn't know his father did that in Alberta. Somehow Alberta is the first to get hit.
Well, typically what it is, like this actually has nothing to do with Trudeau, this minimum wage. It has to do with Catherine Wynne. Because we essentially in Canada have three parties, or three separate sets of government. We have federal, provincial, and municipal. When you're talking the minimum wage, that's actually on the provincial government, not the federal. So even if Trudeau said, no, I don't like it, the provincial government gets to do what they want on this topic.
Okay.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. What?
That makes it a little bit interesting and fun at the same time. So, yeah, we're going to discuss this, but in the end, you're going to just tell me how you want it.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the
Then why
same
the fuck did
system.
we have the discussion in the goddamn first place?
This is basically the same system that countries like the USSR used to have and Hungary. No, you don't have to agree, but this is how it's going to be. I think we called it communism.
Yeah, it's communism.
Oh, no, we just call that Canada.
Yeah, we now call it Canada, indeed.
Is that communism, though?
No.
Almost.
Communism at least gives back to the people.
Is
No,
it
no.
necessarily communism? Let me say it
No,
like that.
it's not communist because there are no people starving to death yet.
Yeah. Well, actually, in Alberta there are.
Not in great enough
Well,
numbers, then.
Exactly. Not mass.
But there's no posters on the streets that say "Don't eat your own children."
Yet, but couldn't the parent company could solve the problem by allowing them to sell double the price of coffee, right? $2, make it $4 per cup, and then temporarily they'll have solved the problem until nobody goes there anymore and everybody goes to Starbucks.
I don't think it's a question of raising the prices. I mean, of course they can raise the prices, but won't they price themselves out of the market? And if they price themselves out of the market, these people will lose their jobs. So they
It's a problem that solves itself, you know.
But
Pie in the sky.
Starbucks, McDonald's, all the companies will have to also pay everyone the same minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't give the secondary working benefits that Tim Horton was giving.
That's the tiebreaker. Yes.
But Tim Horton stopped giving those extra benefits because they can't afford them anymore.
No, they
Because
didn't stop giving the benefit. Like, here, I'll raise this other one because it kind of explains a little bit more what happened. Ontario raised minimum wage. Oh, you scrolled up.
Sorry, there we go.
Ontario raised minimum wage to $14 on January 1st. In response, some employers have had moved to offset the increased labor costs by eliminating paid breaks or increasing workers' contributions for benefits. Most notably, a Tim Hortons restaurant in Cobourg, owned by Jerry Horton Joyce and Ron Joyce Jr., the children of the chain's founders. Scroll down.
Scroll down. Yeah.
No way. No.
He's typing.
No, I wasn't typing. It's not fast.
Okay, essentially what it is they laid out, like, granted, these are, like, Tim Hortons was founded by these guys as parents, right? Well, they no longer run the entire chain. The chain's been sold off to a large company, but they still own their stores. They're still franchisees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their response was, okay, we can either cut staff, we can cut hours, or, okay, no, we're already giving every employee an hour paid off. Because there's 15-minute breaks that were paid and a lunch hour, which was half an hour, paid.
All that time, I need to go work for them.
Yeah, like those are pretty good.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
So what they said is, okay, now you're
break and half hour. That's an hour. That's cool.
now when you're on break, you're not getting paid. And you know how before we were paying you or paying all of your benefits? Now we want to increase your share. So if you want benefits, you have to pay some of that cost. It's not even you have to pay all of the cost. It's you just have to kick in some of that cost. And they put it in writing. And since Tim Hortons is such a big chain in Canada, it created this stir. And everybody's up in arms saying, oh, well, how dare you decrease these extra benefits that you were giving before just because the cost of having employees went up. And like somebody said before, it's the idea that as soon as you incorporate a business, you all of a sudden have a printing press for money in the back. Like as me and Modwain kind of touched on earlier, is when you increase the minimum wage, it actually hurts the economy more. You're going to get a sharp uptick in personal spending because, of course, people are going to start. You're making $2 more an hour. You know what? Now you can afford a $100 a month car payment, or you can afford to go buy that extra cup of coffee. But how it hurts the economy is that's great for 6 months until the economy starts coming back and saying, oh, well, you know, all of our labor costs have increased, which now means that the increase for our raw goods has to go up because we have to increase what we pay the people that provide those raw goods. So once that catches up to these minimum wage people, all of a sudden minimum wage people are making minimum wage again, but have increased their debt load. Does that make sense, or did I kind of wander off and ramble a bit?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So the whole idea of increasing minimum wage is great, but it's the equivalent of virtue signaling in an economic form.
Yeah, it's basically as Alicia is as well saying, it's just inflation. By forcing increased minimum wages.
I got mute. Sorry.
That's okay. But by forcing minimum wages, you're not helping anyone, but you're creating an inflation. And funny enough, the people at the bottom are the ones that are going to be hit hardest. The ones that are now talking about how they have it better because they have a wage increase will be hit hardest in half a year, max 2 years, because of the incredible raise in prices.
Yep. It's like you can't give that much of an increase if it's not in balance with the rest of the economy.
Who's typing all the time, by the way?
Blue Raven.
Right,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted. Sorry, I'll mute myself.
Thank you.
Who's furiously typing?
I was just Skyping with Lana. I was trying to convince her to hop on the stream, but unfortunately, she's got shit to do.
Well, she's welcome too.
Yeah, everyone's always welcome.
I know. We don't want a sausage fest, but it's really difficult.
We have one woman here. She's in the kitchen doing my.
Yeah, we do.
Silent this whole time. Modwain, let go of the leash for a little bit.
No, but the problem is, as John the Bereaved says as well, we had wage inflations in the UK's in the 70s and the 80s, and it didn't end well. The only people who actually profit from wage increases, minimum wage increases, are the people who are higher up. I mean, if in the Netherlands they would increase the minimum wage now, it will, for the time being, no, not for the time being, it will be positive for me because I'm a homeowner with a mortgage. My mortgage won't go up, but the money I make will go up. Therefore, my mortgage price will stay low. But people paying rents will be fucked because, well, inflation. Therefore, the prices will go up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are already at the bottom when it comes to income and you are dependent on social programs and you're dependent on social housing, you will be hit twice just because you had this increase.
No.
And that's why I'm never a fan of forced. Well, I understand the idea of inflationary, because of inflation we have every year in the Netherlands. Because of inflation, our salaries goes up. It's inflation compensation.
Shit, my salary went down this year apparently. The
Do you
volume.
guys want to
yeah.
know where inflation is just wacky? It's in Australia.
Yeah.
The cost of living in Australia, I've been looking at, and I have cousins there. It is just out of this world. Things that I can get here. I'll give you one example. It's not anecdotal because I've checked the prices in Australia. You can just go there. A bottle of Jameson, a whiskey. That's just one object. A bottle of Jameson. I can get it for about 15 euros.
Axel, the background music is too loud.
I was wondering if that was me because I just came back and it started pumping through. I'm like,
yeah. It was Raven, but I was loving it, man. It was giving me more dramatics.
It was cool. It really was, but it was too loud.
Yeah, exactly. A bottle of Jameson I can get for about 16 euros average. In Australia, it is close to $70 to $80.
Wow.
Australian dollars. And the Australian dollar is not a third or a tenth or less of Australia of the euro. It's only about what $1.30, 35, 40 to the euro. So it's not that. Yeah, it's a little bit less, but still because of inflation. Because they have super high wages. Shit, my cousins earn about they are both crane operators. They earn $4,000, $5,000 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot. But if you have to pay, you go shopping and you pay per week about $900 or $800 in shopping. Insurance for your car is $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Your bills, every other bills add up to $1,000 or $2,000 a month. It's not that $4,000 to $5,000 a week. It's not that great. And I said the week, not a month. So it just doesn't add up. In Portugal, we also have we want to increase our minimum wage from 465 euros to 625 euros a month. And I know that will cause a hell of a lot of damage to the economy.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that in the Netherlands, after the Second World War, sorry, I have a frog in my throat. It's quite annoying.
Bon appetit, by the way.
Thank you. No, but in the 60s in the Netherlands, after the Second World War, we had more or less a planned economy when it came to housing and work and healthcare. Not about food, but these things were more or less protected so that everyone had it. You had at least some semblance of healthcare. You had a house. There was a good chance you had work. Everything else was market. Then in the 60s, they basically said, okay, we're not going to control the house prices. So rent will be left more or less free to the renting companies to ask what they want. And they saw a steep increase in rent, extremely steep. So a lot of people suddenly couldn't afford their rent anymore. So that's when they started to create rent subsidies. And they basically told companies, okay, you're not allowed to increase your rent per year more than 7%. Eventually, they said that, which then, of course, became the norm. They started raising rents at 7%. A few years ago, they said, you know what? You could raise rent prices more if people earn more. At this point in time in the Netherlands, it is cheaper to buy a house than to rent a house. But if your income is below a certain yearly number, let's say it's below 27,000, you're not allowed to have a mortgage of about 100,000 because officially you're not able to pay it. Now, if you would pay, if you have a mortgage of around 100,000 euro, you would pay roughly 300 to 400 euro a month in your mortgage. The government says you're not allowed to do this because you aren't safe. It's not safe to pay that much mortgage. So you are forced to rent a house. But the rent can easily be up to 700 euro.
Oh, 7, 8.
Yeah. No, but no, if it's beyond, you can go higher, obviously, but if it's beyond 750, I think, you are not able to get rent, subsidies.
Yeah.
Because in this country, if the rent is too high, you get a small subsidy to help you pay the rent. But that subsidy maxes out at 150 euro a month. So if you have a rent of 700, minus that 150, you still have a rent of 550 euro, which the government thinks is perfectly okay for you to pay. But you're not allowed to have a mortgage where you have to pay 400 euro a month because that's not safe.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, I guess the commitment with the mortgage is a lot bigger because if you default on it, then you have a much bigger amount you owe than when you just get like chucked out by your landlord. You just, you owe 1 or 2 rents. That's it. So I guess
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
there's a point to it, but I mean, yeah, definitely it's preferable. I mean, yeah, I'm on the last year of my mortgage. I'm 51. It's a great feeling, and having thought of, even if though a lot of the money is like interest, it still feels great because you paid the money for your own like shack,
Yeah.
even if okay, there's a hole in the roof and whatnot, you need to fix it up. That stuff you don't think of. You actually have to still save on some extra money. By the time you've paid it off, you have to start repairing it, so you have to keep paying. So it's not like, oh, you stop paying once it's paid off,
Yeah, but
so it
let's
is a
be
little
honest.
bit like a rent, but you can't be chucked out. That's the main thing, You just can't be chucked out. You just stay there. It's yours,
But that's the main thing, though. I mean, if you have a rent of 550 euro and you can't pay it, you can get chucked out.
Yeah,
If you
that's true.
have a mortgage of 400 and you can't pay it, you can get chucked out too. So on that, it's basically the same. The difference is, if you get chucked out of your house, you can still sell it and make some money off of it.
Banks are usually a little bit, they're not that bad, they're a little bit more indulgent. They try to work something out, They say, okay, pay interest for a while, something like that.
Yeah.
interest only or something. Like
But-
a lot of the English houses work that way. That people, they have huge mortgages and they just pay interest. They just get an interest only mortgage arrangement with their bank. Interesting.
That's no longer allowed in the Netherlands. But yeah, that used to
Is
be
it?
possible here too.
But do you ever own your house then if you only pay the interest?
No.
Not necessarily. But who cares? They still have nice houses,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
And essentially, at that point, it's the same. If you're paying interest only, it's the same benefits as a lower rent.
Actually, no, it's still better.
You
You
can
know why
still
it's
earn.
better?
You can still
Inflation,
sell the
you know,
house.
your
You can
house
still
can go
do it
up
up. But you can still do up the house. You can still do it up, make it nice, and you can still sell it on.
Yeah.
Obviously you won't see much of the. But you are still on the property ladder. Whereas if you're renting, you have nothing. There's nothing, literally.
Yeah, true.
And it's kind of funny because most Western countries were like, okay, we need to create a situation where people own their houses. There are less people renting, more people owning. But at the same time, if they do that, inflation hurts the government. Because if they have high inflation and everyone owns their own home, that means their cost of housing will go down. I mean, if we have a 10% increase in inflation, that's fair enough. Money becomes less valuable, but I will have more of it. But the payment I have to do for my mortgage will not change. So yeah, okay, my bread may be twice as expensive, but my living just went down.
That okay.
But if you rent, well, the rent will increase as well because, hey, everything increases. There's inflation. Does that still make sense?
Yes.
And this is the problem with increasing minimum wages, especially as much as they're doing in Canada right now. It has to open the floodgate to inflation.
Well, not only that, I'll point out something else. Ontario has the highest or second highest amount of minimum wage recipients. And it's still 8%.
Okay.
Now, essentially, you're increasing, because you will be increasing people's wages that aren't on minimum wage as well. Because typically those people that were working for just above, say, that are already at $15 an hour, well, they're happy because they're making more than minimum wage. What happens when they are making minimum wage? They're going to go to their employers and be like, you know what? I'm not doing this for minimum wage. And expect to have the increase in wage.
Well, that's the thing I was talking about. You got the new workers making the new money, and you got the old workers now making the same money. It gets unfair. You work all that time, you get all those raises, you do everything you need to do to make that extra money, and now that extra money just went away. Plus all the time you work there. So it becomes highly unfair to the people that already work there against the new employees.
Yeah, you look at it's the exact same thing as what you're saying. You look at the employees that have been there for 2 years and are at $15 an hour. All of a sudden, they're back down to the starting wage.
But the thing with inflation, it's something, obviously you can't say just because Tim Horton increases its wages, it's going to universally drive up inflation. So my guess is that if you're a Tim Horton employer, or let's say if you're like a minimum wage guy, you always assume that you are the exception, and that you are being especially treated unfairly. So if somebody raises your wage, it's not going to affect everybody else. It's just you being leveled up. So it's not going to increase inflation proportionally because not everybody else is going to get raises. It's just you leveling up to whatever you deem right
but it's not
fair.
It's not only Tim Horton that's having to pay this new minimum wage.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
So So the minimum wage there is that like a Canada-wide thing? Was it Alberta or where
Ontario,
was it?
this one.
Ontario, all right.
Yeah, like even here, they're talking about raising the minimum wage because we have to help our working poor.
Mhm.
Correct. I can't remember the exact number, but I believe we're at 1.3% of our population makes minimum wage. This is why I say raising the minimum wage is essentially virtue signaling in the economic world, is because there's not that much of your society that really works for minimum wage. Even in the US, I've looked at the numbers the other day. US has a little bit higher numbers than Canada for people that work minimum wage, but it's still not a huge difference. Like you're maxing out at helping out 10% of your population. That's a maximum number.
Yeah, but
Like
that's
I
not
think
the reason why
highest
they
one in
do it.
Canada is 9.3.
That's not why they're doing it, though. That's what they say they're doing it for, but that's not why they're doing it.
No, they're doing it so they can look all high and mighty. Look at what we're doing. We're here for the little guy.
No, that's not it either. The main reason is the big companies can use loaned money to increase their cash flow. And then when inflation comes, those loans become cheaper. It's the same with buying a house and a mortgage. If I have a loan of 10,000 euro, at the time that 10,000 euro is a lot of money, I can spend that money and do a lot with it. And then if I can get an inflation going of like say 10% in 2 or 3 years time, then my loan is still 10,000, but the production I create from that loan will be in the new valuta, whereas the loan will still be paid off in the old valuta. So I only have to pay 10,000, even though 10,000 now is worth less than when I got it. So basically, I'm off cheaper. Rich people will be off cheaper.
Yeah.
And
Now
the poor
it kinda
people,
starts to make sense.
they might make some more money, but that money is worth less.
It most definitely hurts middle class people. But my solution for this is no minimum wage. Across the board, scrap the whole idea of a minimum wage. You work for what you want to work for, and it's up to businesses whether they want to pay that much, and it's up to workers if they want to work for that little.
I kind of agree with that, but it comes to
I
the
think it
fact
depends
that
on the culture.
you can pay whatever you feel like the employee deserves. A few times I wanted to pay the employee more because the amount of work they're doing. But it comes down to if the employee's not doing any work at all, I want to decrease his salary because he's not worth it.
Makes sense.
Pulling his punches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No minimum
that's
wage.
sort of-
Yeah, you get an open door for paying people that actually want to work the amount of money they deserve.
But then you get all the Poles and the Hungarians that come to work for like $2 an hour, and they took our jobs.
I mean, it really depends on the culture as well, doesn't it? I mean, I think that Fodernut's model works in America, but if you apply it to Taiwan or something, you can get sweatshops and stuff, Yeah, well then, if there is if it's like a buyer's market for like employers, and you just got like tons of workers you can choose from, then without the minimum wage, you can go very, very low. Okay, well, we'll just have these people manufacture shoes for like $1 a day or something like that.
You could
Then
probably
you have,
even fly them over
economic-
even cheaper than the national workers.
But then actually, that's a perfect example because you have economic power shift, what's similar to going on in the world today with China. China used to have no economic influence around the world because they had no minimum wage and could bring that manufacturing to the country. Where's China's economic power now?
One of the biggest ones now, and they control just about everything.
Like, not saying that China's the best place to live, but one of those things is if you can make more money, like if it costs Carlos $1 to produce a jug of milk, and it costs me $2 to produce a jug of milk, who do you think's actually going to sell more? Who do you think's going to end up with more economic power?
Carlos, obviously.
In my opinion, that's the best way to kill inflation, is get fucking people out of it.
Yeah,
No minimum wage, no maximum wage.
That kind of reminds me of something I read a while back about. It was called the Ubuntu Project, and they said like, well, you know, place villages next to big cities that. What was it? You have to produce 3 times: one for the village, one for reserves, and one's for selling. And if you can produce that amount, you can drive it to the city and sell it there at a farmer's market or some shit like that. And then you can drive down the costs of the big companies like that. I thought it was a very interesting concept anyway.
Yeah, but it's not workable, I think.
No, in the end, it's not going to be workable, no.
I mean,
I thought Ubuntu was a Linux distribution.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I read it as well.
Ubuntu is a philosophy, an African philosophy of
togetherness or something.
Yeah, togetherness. We're all one.
Nope.
It's socialist like in a different way.
I thought it was something like Wikipedia, kind of sharing, communal kind of communism.
Kind of reminds me of the Donald Trump meme. Sounds good, but doesn't work.
Better ourselves, but
what was that, Jess?
I'm saying that was the mentality of we work together to better ourselves.
Yeah.
Most of the countries, including the United States, it'll never be like that because greed is the number one motivator.
Well, but it didn't used to be that. America used to be a true capitalistic country. Well, they haven't been for, 60 years, 70 years? But they used to be
longer than that, but
true capitalism, define me that. I don't think there is one correct way to do capitalism, right?
There is, actually.
Is?
Yeah,
you have that.
I think the true capitalist was the 18th century British.
For a while,
after
definitely.
After that, capitalism became so watered down with that it's not real capitalism.
No, that's not
I don't know. What do you mean, like anarcho-capitalism?
No.
That's the closest thing
capitalism
to
is
real
it.
capitalism is ANCAP.
Yeah, that doesn't work. It doesn't work because even at the purest form of capitalism in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution in the UK, you had children working in factories 19 to 20 hours a day, etc. And it was basically almost slave labor. They paid minimum wage. They paid
in the beginning.
I would say like a company like Google would love NCAP because the stronger the company is, they make the rules. Then
Yeah, exactly. And so it became so watered down that today it still is capitalism because it still is.
No, we don't have a capitalistic system anywhere in the Western world anymore.
No, we don't, because it's been socialized to an extent that the workers also are protected. Which
Yeah, that too. But there's also the protection of the larger companies. So
like Big Pharma.
For example,
protection of the workers is not a bad thing.
No, not protection of the workers, protection of the companies.
And as
You're
well,
not allowed.
exactly.
Whoever gave companies like how individuals have right was a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the fact alone that there are
Copyrights
that can be prolonged indefinitely,
patents.
patents that can be prolonged
that is
indefinitely.
not. Yeah, but that's not real.
Yeah, that's not capitalism, but that's what we're seeing in the world now.
But not to an extent. Copyright is what in films in the film.
70 years from the moment of the creator's death.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the timeline.
What the fuck? He's dead. How's he going to benefit from that?
Books,
Companies benefit,
pharmaceuticals,
families benefit, depending who holds the right.
His family.
Oh, yeah.
So the copyright laws are fucked, but that's just one aspect of modern copyright.
I like copyleft.
I'll be right back. I have to answer a phone, guys. Sorry about that. Be right back.
That's I work with that partly with some of the software I release, copyleft, which is the GNU public library, public licensing system where you with software it's relatively easy because you can you don't necessarily have to patent the algorithms, but what you can say is that if you build new software based on the old software and it's released under this model where it's, let's say, open source, let's say something like LPG3 or something, then if you release new software that's based on it, then you have to release it under the same model. So it remains open, which is a really nice idea. Instead of closing it down, you're actually closing it up. You're opening it up permanently by saying it's open. You build something new on it that needs to be open as well. It's a really cool idea. It kind of turns it on its head.
Yeah, that's why a lot of different pieces of software are now being made open source.
Yeah, like Android, Chromium, Linux, Firefox, and it works. It works very well because software is still a complicated beast, but it makes it easier when it's open to find problems with it and learn. And also from a security aspect, it's much better to have something out in the open than have it locked away somewhere. Like all that Intel / Microsoft software that has all these security holes now. And these backdoors, this machine within a machine.
Sometimes I wonder if that bit conspiratory, but maybe they do that on purpose so that they work with a fire scanner or something, and they release more and more shit over the time that close the gaps. It wouldn't surprise me anyway.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one thing you can. I mean, if you have closed software, obviously you can put in vulnerabilities, and you can exploit them commercially.
Yeah.
By either laying them open to certain people or building defense systems around them and monetizing that. That's one way to monetize.
Yeah, I never really heard about any viruses on Linux. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but
Yeah, there should be a
There
few.
probably
by
are.
now. Yeah, there are a few. Not a lot though.
I never really hear about anything. And with Windows, it's like fucking fire is this, fire is that.
That's not true. Nobody talks about Windows viruses anymore. Everyone just assumes they're there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh, my computer isn't working. Yeah, it must have been a virus again.
Guess I'll have to get the newest Norton.
Or just reinstall.
Yeah, shit.
Oh my god, you say that in such a cavalier way.
Yeah, well, been there, done that.
I
Also
don't
farm,
want to
farm.
have to do that. It's one thing, when I'm once a year I'm in a paid call with Microsoft, and then when they suggest that, I usually jump down their throat. Yeah, you could just reinstall. Do you know how many sample libraries I have to download? How many 100 gigabytes of how many hundreds of licenses I have to reinstall?
Use a second hard disk. No, seriously, use a second hard disk.
Yeah, well, that's not the point though. But you still have to. It's still a lot of work to install everything. I mean, yes, you should back up. There's no doubt. I mean, there's a 4 terabyte backup disk upstairs. but it's harder to. It's easy enough to back up data, and it's easy enough to back up all your installer software. But the process of installing everything and licensing everything is just.
Tedious.
You know, you do it every week's tedious, and it's just an exponential. There's so many things that now when you're developing software, there's another layer of difficulty on top. You know, because there's a lot of shit that kind of interacts with each other. That's why it's a really nice thing to offload your environment, your development environment into a virtual machine or into the cloud, where it's just like an image or something, and you don't actually have to have a physical machine that's set up in a certain way, you know. But with music recording, I have to say, there's no such thing as a virtual recording system. It's just too demanding. You just need the direct, raw access to the hardware. Like in a computer game, you know. You want a fast machine that's just doing everything in real time, you know. Anyway, that's my rant over. Sorry, I just got...
Yeah, no, but... okay, yeah.
Ranty.
Installing of software, yeah. But library...
How did we get there?
Yeah, can't remember.
We got there from capitalism to not through capitalism to copyright, and then we went on dispute.
So, yeah.
I
we
do
went
pay
all around.
attention sometimes.
But
So
back...
how
sorry.
are we going to get back to this boring topic of minimum wages and people surviving mundane things and inflation? I always want to kill myself when people talk about value of money. It's such a mundane thing, you know. It's just such a... when you don't have it... when you don't have it, you don't actually want to talk about the value of money because you don't have it. So it doesn't really matter, you know.
Ain't that the truth? I only care about money when I don't have it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to bed now,
Not
guys.
the value
I'm a
of
bit
it.
tired, so see you tomorrow, guys.
See you
All right,
later,
Carlos.
Carlos.
Take
Thank
care,
you for
buddy.
coming,
See you,
mate.
Carlos.
Always,
have a good night.
I love you guys. Bye all.
Sleep well, mate.
Yo.
See, it's just it's kind of a luxury to talk about inflation, you know, because if you don't have money, it doesn't really matter how little of you you have. You know, you're just kind of scraping by, and you don't care whether it's 20% less or more. You know, you just know you don't have enough to make ends meet.
Yeah,
Whereas if you have the luxury of talking about how the value of money goes up and down, oh, then you must have something at least, you know. You must have something, you know, or people who talk about their portfolio or something, you know, they have whatever. They have
Shit, I
like
have to build a portfolio.
shares or something, you know, or like a pension plan or something.
yeah.
Papers, you know.
It's kind of funny though because we haven't had real capitalism in the Western world for a very long time. But the one
You bring
thing
it up
that,
again, the real capitalism.
no, but
It's
because
a red flag to me. Real capitalism.
I know, but real capitalism is that the market decides. And when the market decides, I mean, if I hire you for €5 or for $5 or whatever, and I can let you make something and you can see, oh, okay, this is how it's being made. I can do the same myself, but I can do it faster or cheaper or blah, 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 blah. You're going to be able to start your own company and do the same thing cheaper. So then you can hire people and they're going to say, well, okay, we want to work for you, but hey, he's offering 5. So what are you offering? So you're going to say, I'm going to offer 5 as well, or you're going to say, oh, offer 6. That's how income is generated and safety is made. And then, yeah, I mean, if we want to look at how do you make people survive, you don't look at a living wage. You look at how to curtail the expenses. So you're going to you're going to try and stop the exploitation of renting of houses, for example. So you don't need to raise the minimum wage. You need to protect people's housing situation.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to teach people to survive? Drop them in the woods with a knife. There you go.
Yeah, but then they're going to die.
If you come out alive, you survived. If you died, you're a dumb cunt.
Yeah, but I mean, women will die like that.
Yeah, well, then they'll have to tribe up with the males.
I mean, I love it.
Or with other women, whatever.
There was this Survivor show. I forgot the name. I think it's called Survivor. What the fuck? What do I know? And,
There's too many of them.
Yeah, there's too many of them. And they would drop people on an island. And they usually did it like, okay, a group is partly based out of men and partly based out of women. And then for one season, they decided, you know what? Let's make one camp man and one camp women.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God, did the women fail badly?
Expeditie Robinson.
Yeah, they did that too. Yeah. And the women just, I mean, before the end of the day in the man's camp, they already had some form of hierarchy. They already had jobs that everyone know that, okay, you do this, you do that, you start building that, you start building a fire, you make sure there is fish, you scurry around for foraged food. Everyone had a job to do and everyone did it. And after 3 days at the women camp, they still didn't figure it out. I mean, they were complaining how they got wet because it was raining during the night and they didn't have any dry place to stay. And I mean, how easy is it to make a fucking shelter?
I have no idea.
Well, probably not so easy if you have really, really long nails.
Well, you could break them off.
Yeah.
While building.
While building, yeah. I know that before my health deteriorated, there was a Survivor show in the Netherlands that was based on the Middle Ages. There were peasants and the gentry, the lords, and I really wanted to partake in that one because I know quite a bit about how to do stuff, build stuff, etc., etc. Especially in the early Middle Ages, what with me being a reenactor and all that. But then my health took a hit, so I thought, yeah, maybe not. Would have been fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, they had for the cheap people, they had like a longhouse. It wasn't really a longhouse because the tiny.
You're breaking up a bit, mate.
Oh, I'm sorry. They had a sort of a longhouse where the peasants would live in. But when it was raining, it was leaking, and none of them knew what to do. And they were just complaining about how the gentry had it so much better because they were in a stone castle and good roofing and blah blah blah. And I'm like, then fix your bloody roof. It's not that hard. I mean,
that is actually really hard. No, it is hard to fix a roof. It's really hard, at least for me.
If you have the know-how, nothing is really too hard.
But even if you don't really have the know-how,
it's hard to get a roofer.
It's hard to get a roofer. No, mate, you're not going to get a roofer. You are the roofer.
The amount of times I took off the roof tiles from my extension eating area and put them back on, and I still haven't solved it. It's either the Velox or it's somewhere on the rim. Something's wrong somewhere. It's really, really difficult. Especially, like, I don't know. I mean, Ireland is just such a shitty place when it comes to precipitation.
Well, it depends a bit on how the wind is blowing, because if the wind comes from
Exactly.
the wrong angle, but then you know where the gaps are.
I don't know.
I wish I could show you, because it really isn't that hard, but I'm not allowed to go on the roof myself anymore, so I'm not going to do that.
Dude, there was especially this one Expeditie Robinson, also a survivor thing from the Netherlands, where one of I can't remember, maybe it was the second or the third one, but these guys, man, they went after fucking everything. Big ass lizard, yeah, I'm hungry, let's eat that shit.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's food.
It's like,
And in all fairness, making a roof really isn't that hard. But if you have a place where it leaks, then don't look at only where it leaks, because that's where the water comes out.
yeah,
You also need to find out where the water goes in.
Yep.
It's not that hard, especially on roof thatching is difficult if you don't know how to do it. And I won't lie about it. I'm not good attaching. But at
There's
the
not
same,
that many. There's not that many thatched roofs around anywhere. Anywhere.
no, that's
Anyway,
true.
but do you have thatched roofs in the Netherlands?
You have a few, yeah, you have a
A
few.
lot of farms still have it, don't they?
Yeah. But in this program, the peasants were living in a longhouse with a thatched roof, because that was part of the setting. But the thing is, I mean, yes, to do it right, you take off the thatch and you put on new thatch. That's how you should do it.
Yeah.
But a simple solution can also be, you know what? Here's a piece of thick cloth, and I'm going to put that on top of the thatch. It's not perfect, but if I then keep the cloth, the fabric, more or less straight, water will go down it, because water always takes the easiest route down. And in thatch, it might go through it because the thatch hasn't been made right. So either you take off the thatch and you put back new thatch, or you put a cloth on top of it, which will guide the water down.
Nice.
Because water will always take the easiest route. It might not be beautiful, but it'll work.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Functionality, man. You can
Functionality.
You can give me a neon pink car, and I'll go. Does it get me from A to B? I don't give a fuck.
Gets you from A to B only if you push it.
But yeah, no, I really would have loved to be on that show. And I actually had the application form, but my health deteriorated and
Shit happened.
shit happens.
Oh well.
Yeah, sorry. I'm back. That was my internet service provider.
Hey, we see you have internet. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, no. Here, I'm going to share my one screen quick, yeah?
What?
I'm going to share a screen.
Okay, wait a sec. I'll make you broadcasting. It's very difficult to read.
Actually. Oh, yeah, right there. Share screen.
Where is it?
So the guy called me to try and sell me something.
Okay.
There we go.
Now, I'm on an
the-
internet 150 plan, so I'm supposed to get 150 megabit per second.
13 up is good though.
This is a live download or live speed test.
That's okay. 30.
30 M. Is it Mbit?
Yeah.
Mbit.
Mbit. Okay.
33.
Well, that's not
That's
bad.
useful. Well, that's
Yeah,
really
I'm paying
good.
for
16 up though.
150.
You're paying for 150 and getting a tenth of it.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
that's
you know, look at your contention ratio, mate. You know,
Yeah, but
you're
that's-
probably sharing that with 48 other cunts.
Yeah, but that's really, really bad. I have a 20 Mbit up, 20 Mbit down,
Damn.
which is
Yeah, you
enough for
see-
me.
I've even told them, like, if they would have just went, bring fiber in and bring the technology and the right modems, so I could have 50 down, 50 up, I would be golden.
Yeah, I used to have 50 up, 50 down, which is indeed, it's great. But I'm a poor bastard, so I try to see what can I do to make it cheaper. And considering that I've been with them for more than 10 years,
You're
They were
all
like-
fucking blessed, you know, that I've been on 4G for ages, you know.
4G.
And now 4G, yeah. So like the theoretical maximum is 70 megabits, but the problem with that is not so much the speed, but the amount that you can use. And with the previous contract, it was 50 gigabyte per month, and you use that up quickly, especially
Yeah.
when you're going on Hangouts. And now I have fiber, and I have it's 20 gigs per day, which is perfect. Well, pretty much perfect, unless my daughter's over, then she
feel
uses up no problem.
I feel sorry for you. I have no limit.
Well, you have a cable connection. See, I don't have a physical connection to the fiber network. I just have an antenna on the roof. But as soon as there's no cable, you know, out in
There
the
are,
country, when there's no
there are
cable,
phone-
then they will give you a fair use clause in some way or form.
There are mobile phone providers in the Netherlands that will give you unlimited 4G.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
Not here.
no. They say it's unlimited, and then once you sign the contract, you will see there's a fair use clause always.
Well, there's
Anything that's wireless or mobile, there's always a fair use clause. I don't know why, but that's the way that it is. And that's
Well,
like
Alicia-
I live here 19 years now, and I have a
Alicia-
lot of experience with it.
Well, yeah, there's going to be a fair use clause, but
Yeah.
then the problem
That just means that they will stop serving you. If you're lucky, they will stop serving you after you hit that daily limit. And if you're unlucky, they won't. They'll just apply a 4,000% markup, which happened to me a number of times with Meteor, you know.
how are they going to create a markup? I mean,
It's simple. Like they say, normal mobile rates apply. So instead of the normal price of, what was it, like 50 cents per gigabyte, it goes up to 20 euro per gigabyte.
Okay,
So
that-
you go over by 2 or 3 euro, and then suddenly you're at 150 euros per day.
yeah, they're not allowed to do that in the Netherlands. If I have unlimited internet access, they can put in a fair use clause, but they're only allowed to throttle it. They're not allowed
Yeah,
to
that's
charge
perfect,
me
and that's
more.
what I have now. They throttle you after 20 gigs. So you know, if you binge on Netflix, and the daughter's downstairs skyping with a boyfriend, then you'll just no more Netflix connection. All right, okay, we've used it up. Fair enough.
they don't-
Wait till midnight and start again. You know, that's nice.
They don't
But, you know,
throttle it that much, though. They're not allowed to throttle
no,
it that much.
well, far enough so that you can't watch Netflix anymore. You know, or like play League of Legends or something like that.
I don't know. I get unlimited use, but
That's nice.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Nice
yeah.
to have, but it's just something, you know, you take that for granted. But if you live somewhere out in the country in the asshole of nowhere, and you don't have that cable, that physical cable, then it's really something. Sorry, I cannot, I cannot empathize with you, Fathernut, for I only have 30 megabits or something like that.
well,
It's
no,
not-
it's not
a ton.
that. It just pisses me off because I pay for.
Yeah, if you pay for 4 times as much, yeah.
Yeah, like
But you don't. I mean, there's always a thing about contention ratio. So whatever you
No,
pay
no,
for,
no, that's not
that's
true.
just your maximum.
No, that's not true.
no,
That
no.
might be
It's
true.
supposed to be a constant 150 minimum.
Yeah, that might be true in Ireland, but in the Netherlands, if I pay for 50 Mbit, then I have 50 Mbit up down. And actually, this is true. This is what I used to have. And
I
that
thought you
was-
had 50 down and then 5 up or something like that.
no,
That's
I had
usually not
50 down,
symmetric.
50 up, because that's what I paid for. And I use Access for All, which is, in all fairness, the best of the Dutch providers. But yeah, no, that's what I paid for. That's what I got.
Sorry, who's that?
Access for All.
Access for.
XS for All.
So what do they pay you? So you plug them.
No,
Or
no,
you stream with nine people watching. Yeah.
no, they're not paying me anything. I wish they
Yeah,
would.
I know.
But
Just
in all
joking.
fairness, at this point in time, there are other providers in the Netherlands, and they have called me several times to see if I want to switch, etc., etc. And
Right.
sometimes they're like almost €10 cheaper per month than what I'm having now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still, I mean, I went down from 50 to 20 Mbit because, well, I needed to make back a little bit of money because I'm losing
Mm-hmm.
money too fast. But I'm not going to go away from Access for All. I mean, they might be the most expensive one in the Netherlands. I can count the amount of times that I went forcibly down, so that I lost internet connection in the last, let's say, 10 years on one hand.
Yeah. Access for All has a pretty good reputation.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of funny because one of the companies that keeps calling me and asking me because I have a phone at Vodafone, and Vodafone is working together with Ziggo.
Oh dear God, Ziggo
Yeah.
is the fucking
They're
worst.
the fucking worst. And they keep calling me like, oh yeah, you have Vodafone now. If you also take a Ziggo account, then you will get 2 gigs extra on your Vodafone account without having to pay extra, and you get this and you get that. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, mate? That's all good and well, but you're Ziggo.
Shove it up your butt.
Yeah, but we really, really, really have upped our game. We really have become better at it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Once you can show me the stats on how much better you become, then we'll talk.
Dude, in the last 3 years, it's been down a lot.
Well, they have increased a lot, but then again, they came from a very, 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 very bad place to begin with.
Dude, I'm kind of the same with providers that I never have trouble with. Like, I've been with T-Mobile ever since it became T-Mobile from Orange.
Yeah.
My mom's all like, yeah, but if you switch to this and this, then you pay less. When she was still alive, you know. And I was like, no, I'm staying with fucking T-Mobile.
Well, if it works,
Never had any problems with them, even in the States.
I used to have KPN for my mobile phone and my telephone.
Oh yeah.
But my internet is Access for All, and Access for All is owned by KPN. and still,
Sounds like a trap.
well, no, I mean
It's a trap.
no. The funny thing is, Access for All was bought up by KPN a long time ago. But whilst buying Access for All added one clause to the contract. They are now property of KPN, but KPN is not allowed to change any of the workings of Access for All.
Nice.
So they earn the money that Access for All makes, and Access for All, even though they are the most expensive one in the Netherlands, are making money. But KPN is not allowed, for example, to downplay or try to make money off of the how do you call it? The help desks and all that. Sorry.
Okay.
So they're still the old Access for All, but they are now owned by KPN. But other than that, they are still Access for All. So basically, KPN can now say, okay, we have our own product, and if you want a better version of our own product, we have Access for All. But officially, Access for All isn't the best in the Netherlands anymore. You know why?
Why?
They're not being taken in. Sorry?
Net neutrality.
No, not net neutrality. They are simply not showing up in any tests. And if they are showing up, they're often just showing up as because they are part of KPN. And because they are part of KPN, their numbers are then also conflated with KPN, and KPN isn't as good as Access for All. So now Ziggo can say, yeah, but we're actually better than Access for All. And then I'm like, okay, no, you're not. Yeah, but we are, because we can say that there are problems here and there and blah, blah, blah. No, that's KPN. That's not Access for All. Well, yeah, but KPN owns Access for All, therefore it's also Access for All. No.
Apparently everyone is switching their brains off and letting us rant.
Yeah, sorry. Anyone got anything to say, though? Because...
No. I've got nothing to say. I'm just comfortably drunk now.
Well, that's nice too.
I'm working on 3 new songs with Lana, so it's so much fun. It's so great to have 3 new songs, for the new year.
She's actually a good singer.
Yeah. I leave you in that illusion.
You mean you have to do that much work?
I have to do a little bit of work to make it sound that way. She's a decent singer.
I really have to get into one of those songs with you, mate. I really should.
You want to sing, yeah? Or play the guitar, play air guitar?
I listen. I can play Rockstar. not the game, by the way, just the attitude.
It's good enough if you can smash up a hotel room.
Yeah.
That's half the.
No, but I can sing actually. I really can.
Didn't we test it out on a stream not too long ago?
We did, didn't we?
We played Dubliners and shit.
Yeah. That's
the rocky road to Dublin.
We did that one as well, yeah.
The pub with no beer.
And the pub with no beer.
Whiskey. There's whiskey in the jar.
We won't do it again because it's kind of funny. They demonetized that stream.
Oh, really?
It wasn't
Yeah, singing
monetized,
that
by the
shit?
way. But they demonetized it.
Damn it.
No, I
shit.
don't monetize my stream, so I don't
Because
give a fuck.
you sounded so close to the Dubliners that they said you're basically playing copyrighted stuff.
So, yeah, it's weird. But no, I don't mind. I wanted to sing on that video some time ago. What was
Yeah.
it? The I want to teach the world to.
Oh yeah, really? Well, I was probably too late then.
No, I was too
looking
late.
for
No. You sent me the stuff to do, but I shit
Didn't do it.
I mean, there's still time. You could still invite you to Dr. Vandermarkham's Greece thing.
I have no idea what you're on about.
It's another one. You can DM me on it, but you can sing on that if you want.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I really should do it.
He hijacked my choir Twitter group and said, "Okay, now I have something, a big thing, in the works." So
It would be good for me as well, because then more people will see my name, and I might actually get some people to join my.
It's a tricky thing, right?
I want to be a huge YouTuber. Go out and spread my name. Go on, people. Go then.
You're not a huge YouTuber.
I'm a huge YouTuber.
Huge.
Fuck you.
200 pounds at least. 220 pounds.
Here, I got my new
YouTubing.
song.
You got your new song.
Yeah, well, it's been finished for like half a year now, but
Play it.
I never put the link in because I don't know how to do sound.
Oh,
on it.
SoundCloud. Cool. So can we play it?
Yeah, of
It's
course.
yours.
Chemical imbalance or just all these thoughts?
But my singing isn't all that
Rap
great.
song.
My singing ain't all that great.
Okay, let me see.
I'm just warning you.
What?
So I'm just warning you. My singing ain't all that great.
That's okay.
Chemical imbalance or just all these thoughts? Depression is always looming over me. Feels like my stomach is tied up in knots. Not sure if I ever want to be free. This dark-filled place that I've come to love seems scary to live without. We go hand in hand, it fits like a glove, but it's also a place riddled with doubt. There's constant battle between the dark and the light. The dark's often winning, but I continue the fight. I can't stop fighting, cause in the future I might find that ray of sunshine and bask in the bright. I can't express all of the feelings that I have inside. I've become so cynical and with a smile I hide. So I often tell people that I feel fine. But how do I explain these icy shivers going down my spine? It's like going for a walk on a winter's day without a cold crisp air bringing a painful flow. 10,000 icy needles going down my throat. The whole body hurting when the cold wind blows.
Nice backing track. Who made that?
My musical therapist.
Your musical therapist.
There's constant battle between the dark and the light. The dark's often winning, but I continue the fight. I can't stop fighting.
So if you want that epic, I can mix it for you for free.
I don't have all the tracks, mate.
It sounds
You only
pretty
need
cool though.
it's a good backing track. Or you only need a master. Really only need the stereo master of the music, and I think you have 2 vocal tracks there, right?
Eventually 3.
Yeah. Okay, so did you mix it? Did you mix it, or did your collaborator mix it for you?
The collaborator. I only sat there. No, we're not using that. Yeah, we're using that.
Yeah, no. So you sent him the vocals, and he mixed it together, or did you?
Just
No, I
the bass.
Who did the final mix? Who mixed the music with the vocals?
My musical therapist.
Okay, so that's the one thing, because the music is nice. It's just that the vocals don't gel with it. That's the only criticism I have.
I don't care.
You know.
Just play the rest of the song.
Okay, of course.
Because in the future I might find that ray of sunshine and bask in the bright. There's constant battle between the dark and the light.
I like it anyway.
The dark's often winning, but I continue the fight. I can't stop fighting, cause in the future I might find that ray of sunshine and bask in the bright.
I mean, it needs a bit of polishing, but it's not bad at all. Do you know human drama? It's an act in, I think it was from the 80s or the 90s. 80s or the 90s.
Never heard of it.
What is it?
A band.
All right, here it comes.
Let me tell you something about chronic depression. I've lived with it for most of my life. It's like a never-ending hopelessness, constantly nagging you. And after what seems like constant failure, you get scared to even try something new. Of course, you don't want to feel like this, so you end up searching for things to make the feelings go away. Drugs, gaming, you know, whatever. To find out that you are only masking and numbing the darkness. Suicide seems the only way to never feel like this again. But it's not a choice to consider lightly. Though through these thoughts, I found out that I don't want to die and give up on life potentially getting better. I found out that I do want to fight to make something of my life. A light appeared and a bit of hope, taking little steps forward. There's constant battle between the dark and the light. The dark's often winning, but I continue the fight. I can't stop fighting, cause in the future I might find that ray of sunshine and bask in the bright. There's constant battle between the dark and the light. The dark's often winning, but I continue the fight. I can't stop fighting, cause in the future I might find that ray of sunshine and bask in the bright.
I really like it. I really do.
So you were saying?
It's really good.
Yeah, you can turn it down and let it finish.
Listen, Smirkus.
Epic. I like it.
It's really good. If Real Raven can clean it up for you, I would love to get it and try to make a video clip with it as well. All for you. I won't take credit on any of the bullshit. It's all for you. This is really good, man. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Kind of, well, like you could note out though from the song, and try to explain what a depression feels like.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but more than just the message of the words. Okay, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit because your singing isn't the biggest in the world or whatever, but it's really good. And together with the sounds and everything, it's...
Yeah.
Guys in the stream, what do you think? I'm saying it's really good. What do you think? John Warped, Carlos Square. What do you guys
It's
think?
actually pretty good.
I like the cellos, man. The cellos are fucking great.
It makes me really think of human drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
It is really
not
good,
going
man,
to
I'm
play
telling
human
you.
drama because then that's going to be annoying.
Okay, Square Pack says well done.
No, I mean, listen. When you can get the files to Real Raven and he can clean it up a little bit, I would love to create a video clip with it. And I can put it on my channel, but it might be great for your channel to begin with. And maybe
yeah, here's the thing, like, I really don't want to put it down or anything, because I think it's a great track. It just needs you need a mixer behind it. Yeah, but you have a good musician on your hands, so really like his track. He just didn't know how to mix together your vocals and the other component. Because he's really good at the music, as I can see. So you just need to bring those two parts together. That's all, It's almost like a mastering job. Although it's nicer if I have the vocals separately, then I can also pitch them a little so that they sound, spend 2 or 3 hours, give them some love, and then you can kind of make the vocal really epic. I don't know. You probably are familiar with some of my stuff, but I have done some collaborations with Cognitive Thought.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I gotta get out of here. Thanks for having me on, Modwain.
Sorry to see you go, mate. Thank you for coming, and hope to see you.
I'll talk to you again soon there, Raven, and nice talking to everybody else as well.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming, mate.
Take care, buddy.
Later.
Yeah,
Thanks
definitely
for
fun
being
to
here.
have you.
Who left now?
But another.
Oh, Father Nut. Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'm going to talk with him as well. He had an idea for a track as well. But yeah,
I like the
Mark, if
my I don't have the original files. So
Marcus, why don't you get together with your collaborator and ask him if he can give you the, all we need is literally just the music track, and then your vocals.
I don't have
2 or
the
3
contact
tracks.
info for him. Since he
You
left his job, I haven't had any. I don't have his contact info anymore.
Oh, that's too bad.
Okay.
It was always a work
a pity.
address,
Okay. That's a pity. Well, I'm sure maybe you'll still work it out, but it's a pity because I think that really has potential. It's really nice, and I just feel like it wouldn't be much work, to make it sound really epic, like I'm in at that point in my work where I know something has value, some tracks they have value, and I just put them through a process, and then they start to sound really epic, and that's that type of track, and then you also have a message with it, which is even better. So
let's see the reactions from the chat.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, that was a good tune. Queerpex said the message is very poignant. Tune's okay, but not my thing because John's really old.
I thought it was pretty good.
And that was it. Yeah, well, I'm always like, if I actually want to improve on that whole singing stage, then I actually have to go on singing lessons. Because the last chorus, he actually put me down and said, stand like this, fucking hand on your belly, and just sing with some feeling, motherfucker.
That's really helpful if you have somebody to coach you, with your singing and like push you a little bit, Always good, Obviously, it's easier when you if you sing every day, you get better, That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's like any instrument, But notwithstanding that, you can make stuff better as well with studio production,
Yep.
Yeah.
So, does anybody want to have a sneak preview on what I'm working on?
Yeah, sure.
Might as well play a few bars of what I'm working on. This is what I was working on today.
Nice.
Let me see. All right. Okay, wait. I need to. You can't hear it because it's muted now. That should work. Come on. Rewind.
Commanding you to think she's beautiful, she knows. She's bloated, she grows. No limits, she craves. Attention, she's praised. By women, she claims to be sculpted by a sculptor. Oh, she don't see her liver's dying. Deeper than the eyes can find it. Maybe she chose to be blinded. She fries another load again. Shuts her foes away. Cause other girls don't cry after their plate is made. But there's a choice you made before you fell apart. You know it's inexcusable to shift the blame to us. And
sorry, my network.
Well, I said it before. I really like her voice when she's singing, but I believe you when you say that's your work.
Yeah, it's you know, one thing is you hit the melody and you kind of you know what the original track is like. That helps. But then when you listen to the original tracks, and especially the stuff that was produced in the last 5 years, it's just so pristine. You know, everything's just so clean and so loud, you know. And then when you try to replicate it and you realize, oh my God, one vocal is not going to be enough. You're probably going to have to sing that 3 times, you know. And then what am I going to do with this, you know, to kind of really thicken it and fatten it up, you know, to make it kind of epic, you know. Now when you listen to the last chorus, it's just huge. It's just like there's a whole choir happening, you know. But it's so much fun. Like you just have one singer, you know, and then it just starts to come together. It starts to kind of, you know, it's just like that's like 5 or 6 tracks.
I'm sorry, mate.
I like it.
You are good at it.
It's really great, man.
Yeah, it sounds epic.
Yeah, it's work. Well, it's fun, you know. You just kind of pile on stuff, you know. Yeah, all that pink stuff. That's her voice. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks. Okay, 2 of them are muted, but you know, it's often more than you often have to sing stuff more than once, you know.
Oh,
and
you have to sing things like 20 times, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, and the thing with if you listen to rock music or whatever, metal or whatever, a lot of the music when you listen to, like if there's real instruments, oftentimes your guitar player, you might hear a guitar line or rhythm guitar or something, and that's the same. The guy played the same thing 4 times. Exactly the same way, you know, or maybe a little bit different, but you know, you kind of layer it, you know. You don't just have it once. You kind of layer it on top of each other, you know, and make it like epic. It's hard to describe, but it's you can't get to this level, you know, to this level of intensity by just like, unless you have a really, really good recording equipment, by just you know, doing the one take. It's incredible.
Well, if you compare my last song to the other 2, then this is freaking epic.
Yeah, but you know, you're not that far off here because the background music it doesn't gel with your vocals, but the music that you had is not that far off. You know, the music that you got from your collaborator
we created that together. We were going for a black metal thing in the beginning, but then it became this.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever, but whatever he came up with, the way that he mixed the music together, it definitely works, you know, the way he mastered the music. You could literally just take the music track and then take your vocal track on top and then compress the stuff together, or do a process, bring the vocals through a process. But what I can right away hear is that your collaborator didn't have much experience with vocals. You know, because
vocals, but it was also kind of like, it's a hobby, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
That was kind of my attitude as well.
it's just that you know, you kind of threw away 50% because the music is epic, and then your vocals aren't, because they don't get the same amount of attention. And what I found out, like, I'm not a singer, I just, you know, piano, whatever, you know, a bit of bouzouki, mandolin, you know, program a drum machine, whatnot, you know. But I found out the music got way better when I spent 85% of my time dedicated to the vocals. Funnily enough, you know, it was just like making the vocals sound good, you know, because that's really what people listen to anyway. They listen to the vocals, you know. And if they're not like blending in with the other stuff, then people just don't buy it. It's like 2 things. You know, it's like it's a bit like a bad green screen, you know. It's like I see the guy talking in front of the green screen and I see the stuff in the background, but they don't they don't gel together. It's like it's still a guy in a green screen studio. He's not in it.
Kind of like
that's basically the idea.
Kind of like Kate Smurthwaite and her background. She has a simple she has a tablecloth green screen behind her, and if you look at, which is okay, you can have a tablecloth green screen, but make sure that it's tight. But you can actually see the folds in them.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to see that, but
Kate Smurthwaite.
But I'll try to see if I can make a sort of like a video clip accompanying the song.
Yeah, sure.
It's probably going to be images and images and images put together, whatever. But it gives me something to do. When I have it finished, I will of course give it to you.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
There you go.
And if you want, I can put it on my channel. But if you don't, then I won't.
As long as you give me credit.
Of course.
Then I'm good.
Of course.
I've also been stuck with a song for a long time, but we can do that like off stream someday. Maybe later.
Well,
I'm kind of getting stuck with what chords to play next, and after that, I can probably conjure up some more lyrics.
Yeah.
But
it's a pity you don't have a mix down of just the music on its own.
No, I only got the completed song.
That's the problem.
Or
you sent him your
the
vocals then.
song.
You sent him your vocals, right?
No, we did all the recording in the music therapy room.
So you recorded it in his studio, yeah?
Yeah, it's a rehab clinic, but I'm still there.
Yeah, whatever, but in the studio of the clinic, right?
Yeah.
So the only person who would have that would be either the guy himself or the owner of the clinic.
No, the guy himself, and he's working somewhere else now.
Yeah.
He probably will have
that complicates stuff.
Yep.
He'll probably have to complete things, but I don't think he kept the independent files.
Yeah, he might not have.
Streams.
Anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah, I'll try if I can make a nice video clip with it. It gives me something to do with it.
No, it's definitely cool. You should, Modwain.
Yeah, I should. Fuck it. I need to work more on my education, and it's been more than a week since my last video upload. So there's too many things that I.
Oh, I feel bad as well because I thought I'd do a weekly hangout and I didn't do one today. I don't know.
I really didn't do one today.
I thought, I might as well jump on yours since I was lazy on my own. I go on yours.
You should have your own ones on Wednesday anyway. You should always be with me on Wednesday.
No, it's Wednesday morning, see, so it's not really conflict of interest normally because I try to make it in a Lana friend. Yeah, last week it was different because I slept in because you knew, I told you, I was up till 3 a.m. that morning, because I was working on these mixes, these.
But if you do your streams with us, you can tell Lana to join us as well. See?
Well, I told her to join us, but she said she's going to have a shower and then she has to go out and tidy up the house for her boyfriend, for her boyfriend's dad who's coming over.
No. Excuses, but fine, all right.
Excuses, yeah. I told her maybe you should make some sandwiches and put them in the fridge.
You should have told her, but you could be on Modwain's stream.
Modwain is
9 people watching. Yeah,
9 people watching. I think if she'd done her own stream, she'd probably get more than 9. Fair is fair.
She should do. I'm trying to constantly talk her into. You have to do your own streams on your channel.
I like some
Definitely.
of her work. Not all of it, but I like some of her work.
Only some. Oh god,
Well,
I can't stay on the stream now. You only said some.
Well, I don't like everything from everyone just because I like some of it from some. But she had I think not too long, a few months by now. She mentioned the. Am I now thinking of the right one? I have to check it real fast.
Well, depends. What did she mention?
About the Bulgarian janissary problem.
Janissary? I don't know. Maybe.
Genocide? You mean genocide?
No, Janissary. During the, what is it, 1500 to 1700, roughly, Bulgaria was under Ottoman
Oh.
occupation, and people got stolen away. But maybe I'm thinking about someone else. Yeah, I'm thinking about someone else. See, there you go. I'm thinking about someone else. My bad.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about someone else. Who was I thinking about then?
Oh well.
Fuck it.
How long are we gonna go for?
Yeah, let's call it quits because we're just.
I mean, usually our streams go. We have a topic, and then we just bullshit around for a bit, and then we end it.
I'm really glad though. I stuck it out to the end because you remember when I thought, oh, why don't you start it early, Modwain? Well, I usually work till 11, but you're not working now, right?
True that. But yeah, and I haven't really paid attention to the chat today either. I'm
Modwain,
sorry,
John the Bereaved said it was Stacey King.
Yeah, you're right.
Because she's Bulgarian.
She's Bulgarian.
I mean, Stacey King, Jesus. I should really do a collab with her again.
Yeah, I wanted to do one with her on the whole Janissary thing as well, but she never
wanted
responded.
to sing again. I really
she never
wanted to sing
responded to my request, so yeah, I'm not big enough.
I think we're just not sharp enough for her. She's too clever.
Well,
are you calling us dumb cunts now?
Yes.
Let's be honest, Smirkus. Would we understand it if he did?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's okay though. No, anyway, you're right. I mean, we started earlier, so we can stop earlier as well. Smirkus, any last things to say?
Well, I'm working on my veteran table, taking lots of pictures and stuff. And when it's finished, I'll probably post a video for it on my channel.
Yeah, do that, mate. Do that.
Nice.
Juz, anything you want to say, mate?
No, as usual, it's always fun to join you guys because we start with the talking and end up with a bunch of baloney.
Real Raven, your camera's on. I know you don't really mind that, but
no, it's deliberate.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Do you want the last word from me as well? Everybody, make sure you hit the notification bell on my channel. There's 3 songs in the pipeline which are going to land within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I just need to force Lana to make the videos.
I do like her singing though. I mean, maybe it's your work, but she has a nice.
Make sure to send us a link so we can post it so we can share it too.
I'll share it on Twitter and Minds. You share. You just subscribe to my channel and switch on or go on Minds. I'll share it there as well. Usually boosted with 5K or something,
Yeah.
Oh, and I bought a ton of boosts over Christmas, as I do.
You bought boosts?
Yeah, on Minds, because I think it's a good. I think buying points on Minds is a good monetization model. I prefer it to advertisements. You just chuck them a bit of money, and you over Christmas you get. I think you get, what is it for? What was it? $10. You got like 10K boost points or something like that, which is good.
Okay. Yeah, I've never paid for boost
It's just
points.
over Christmas. You get them like for a tenth, so you just buy a few, and you get the warm fuzzies because you're kind of paying the platform,
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
That kind of works.
Yeah.
Why not? Better than
Anyway,
fucking advertisements,
I have
being beholden to the fucking mainstream media bullshit.
Yeah. No, that's true. Anyway, I don't have much else to say as well. I like to thank everyone for coming.
How about your wife?
What about her?
Does she have any?
She didn't say anything.
She doesn't. Well, she didn't talk much anyway. She just wanted to listen in.
Any last words?
Don't want the last words from her. I want to see her again tomorrow.
But we won't.
Last word.
You said we won't and we don't. No, it was a cool stream, so thank you. I felt like this was today. I never talk a lot.
Well,
Shut up, Joe. Shut up.
I'm not silencing her, Warps. Come on.
Silence herself.
Anyway, thank you all for coming. I hope to see you all next week. I'm not sure now. I'm not because I might be having a night shift. I'll just check it really fast.
I'll be working some shift.
Yeah.
Nope. Next week. Next week is going to be a live stream. I am going to try to get a topic this time.
A better one?
Oh, this was good as well, but I mean, it's only lucky that Father Nothing had this, because otherwise I had nothing, which is also fun because then we just bitch and moan for an hour or two, which is also fun.
That's also okay.
Usually the no topic ones are the more fun ones, in my opinion.
Well, we always end up with something.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
But yeah, no. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for the people in the chat. Sorry I didn't pay more attention to you today.
Shit happens.
Hey,
I think we can always.
You're coming now. We're going to close.
Scotch.
Who's coming?
Samaj just entered the chat. I haven't seen him earlier. But it's just at the moment that we're going to quit.
Oh well. See y'all later.
Later.
Yeah. Okay, guys. See you all later. We're going to log off. Bye, 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 bye.